Hello there, buddy. I'm Mr. GamePie.
Hi.
Hi!
Got other people. And today I'm going to use sunflowers, but this time I'm actually going to have other plants that can help sunflowers be useful.
I can't see the right side of the screen now. No.
Oh, okay.
No!
That happened. I just sort of dropped my computer for a second, but it's okay.
That was fun.
You should totally recreate that in editing.
That happened. Anyway, but yeah, we're using sunflowers today, but unlike that other time that we tried to use sunflowers, we're actually going to use puff shrooms because they're going to help us be able to set up sunflowers so that we can use other plants eventually.
Yeah. I think the first time I played this game, I did this a few times. I maybe didn't know about the whole sunflower thing at night.
I think you're actually...
So I just did this anyway, because I was like, why wouldn't I use sunflower?
The way
I mean,
the...
you know, the sun shrooms aren't explicitly necessary as long as you're using the puff shrooms.
Yeah, I used puff shrooms. Like, I didn't use... Yeah, I didn't do something like you did.
Doing a night level without puff shrooms is death.
Yeah.
More than anything else, I'd say. That is the quickest way to taste defeat.
As I recall, the way that the one-player mode is set up your first time through is you don't get access to all these plants at once. That'd be a little ridiculous. Instead, you are given one new plant every successful round, more or less.
Yes.
And
Yeah, I think there's some exceptions, but yeah.
and so
Yeah, I mean, there are times where, like, you get the Zombie Almanac on a stage, you get access to the Zen Garden on a stage, but I mean...
In the shop and stuff.
Yeah, and the
Okay.
shop. You get access to the shop on one stage. But for the most part, every time you beat a level, you're going to get a new plant that will either help you on the next level, or would have helped you if you had it on the previous level.
right, and so puff shrooms are the first thing you get for the night stages. You don't actually get sun shrooms until you complete level 2-1.
That said, you could totally play 2-1 with just puff shrooms.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't
I did
need
that
to put
pretty
down
much.
anything else. And you're playing on the mode with 2 flags instead of 1, which makes everything a little bit harder too. So that's an additional accomplishment on that front.
Yes, although to be fair, I did have the imitator, so
Right.
I had extra puff shroom.
Well, of course, but the general idea being that they expect you to notice that sunflowers are nowhere near as useful at night. The only problem with this is then in the sequel, when they decide to introduce sun shrooms back, they never accounted for the fact that mushrooms don't fall asleep during the day, which means that sun shrooms are just giddy with how much sun they produce in general.
Yes.
Making sunflowers almost completely useless from then on.
Yay!
Yeah,
You don't
seriously.
need sunflowers anymore
Yeah.
whenever you have mushrooms.
Yeah, no, the mushrooms took over.
Yeah, it is the Mushroom Kingdom now.
I tend to play the slow tank game in both games, actually, which is sort of what you're doing with all the double sunflowers. And that's basically what the sunshroom strat is in PvZ2. It's basically just setting up sunshrooms because it's a constant but also very small addition to sun at first, which then becomes an absurdly huge amount of sun by the end of a round when you have 10 plants producing 75 sun each. It's horrifying.
Indeed. Alright, so I'm going to start setting up the scary shrooms now. Going all the way back to the back of the rows. Because that's how you play the game, potentially.
If you
know.
feel like it.
Yes, if you feel like playing the game that way, that is a way to play the game.
Yes.
Also, I'm not setting out the puff shrooms, that's bad. Just gonna maybe, the moment that they're like all in range of something, just gonna do this! Nope! Oh, okay, that didn't exactly work. Oh well. I think I'll live. Yeah, I'm gonna live. I'm gonna live, guys.
No,
'Cause
that's
the
the
disco
wrong
zombie is
lyrics. When you have a disco zombie on screen, you're supposed to start singing "I Will Survive." No, ruined
Staying
forever.
alive, staying alive.
But
Oh,
they're not.
oh,
They're
oh,
dead.
oh. Staying alive.
undead.
Staying alive. I'm terrible at singing. Don't listen to me sing.
Well, they're not alive anyway, so you're fine, don't worry.
But I'm staying alive
This is true.
because I have plants on my side. It's kind of like an anime protagonist having friends on his side, but you know they're plants.
So there isn't a hokey moral at the very end about how sticking and working together with your friends is going to save the day.
There's a moral about there is a moral about environmentalism.
Yes! Yes, there is. Plants are sentient, and every single time you dig one up, you're a heartless murderer.
Exactly.
Have
So
a
don't
heart,
eat plants,
eat
everybody.
cows, become a
eat meat
carnivore.
instead. I think we just went with the same moral.
No, there we go.
Eat meat, not plants.
Yeah, there we go.
That is what we learned today. Vegetarians are evil.
No, you see, vegetarians are pro-zombie, clearly.
Vegetarians are pro-zombie. Exactly. That is the moral that we all need to learn. Clearly, this is the thing that is true.
For some reason...
And we've been getting a lot of the disco zombies, but they keep dying, so I guess I'm okay with that.
For some reason, I'm suddenly very much reminded of, I think his name was David Lubar, the short story author who wrote a bunch of weenie books, which were just a collection of short stories for kids. And I believe one of them was about vegetarians who all they ever did was just comment about the fact that, like, you know, do you know where that hamburger's been? Do you know all the cows that have sacrificed their lives so that you could have that burger, etc.? And
Yeah, those guys.
So during a Thanksgiving dinner or something like that, all they keep talking about is how a bird had this hope for a life and etc. until a bunch of giant turkeys burst in and just eat them. And I don't remember why. I just remember being the most random thing I had ever seen in my life.
Oh my god!
And I loved it so much.
Okay, so I mean, this is kind of an interesting setup that Crazy Dave has for us. Sun Shrooms, Grave Eaters, and Torchwood. So, we need something that combines with Torchwood. What should we use that combines with Torchwood, guys?
Snow peas.
3 Peters.
3 Peters, okay. Alright, so that's 4 plants now because, you know, I'm taking the puff shrooms. Because if you leave those behind, you're dead. What else should we have? I'm gonna take magnet shrooms. And pumpkins. Those are good. That's a good time.
Cabbage pulp.
Cabbage pulp? Okay. I guess we could take a cabbage pulp.
Fine, pick cabbage pulp.
I don't know. Spikeweed and spike rock because, reasons. Yeah.
We haven't actually really gotten
Wait.
to see Spike Rock fully take over yet, have we?
I've used it.
Yeah, he used it, a lot of it that one time.
Yeah, whenever we did all the fume shrooms.
Right.
There was a lot of spike rock, it's just that it was between a bunch of graves because we didn't have grave eaters on that level.
Right.
And you don't have it for this one? No,
I
you
do. Crazy Dave
This
chose
one,
it.
let's show it. Yeah.
Crazy Dave did
Are
something
three-
useful,
wait, are 3
guys!
Peters really 325?
What?
Are 3 Peters actually 325?
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
I remember them being that expensive.
Yeah, it's just because they shoot 3 Ps, that makes them 300, and then they added the extra 25 because they didn't want them to be that useful, apparently.
What it is essentially by condensing it into one plant, if you have 1,000,000 3-peters on screen, there's an absurd amount of attack power you can build up from that.
Yeah.
Because, yes, technically, it's no different. It's 25 more expensive than buying 3 different pea shooters, but at the same time, if you can get 5 3-peters out, that's a lot more valuable than having 15 pea shooters out.
Yeah, I suppose so.
So that's their logic behind it. What I actually appreciate is that in the sequel, 3-peters were knocked down to 300, but melon pults were actually bumped up to 325.
I see.
No particular reason for that, by the way. I think they just realized that melon pults and winter melons are like the most overpowered things in the game. So
they are.
And I love them for that. Don't get me wrong, but I appreciate the fact that they made them a little harder to get out. That way, they could be more appreciated for how useful they are once they are out.
Also, the night levels, the front yard night levels in particular, are really good for grinding money because every time you destroy a grave, you get money. It's not a lot of money, but it's money.
Oh yeah, the Grave Eater is the first example of a plant that becomes absolutely useless after a level, isn't it?
Yeah, basically, because graves only appear front yard night. That is the only set of levels that they appear in. So once we get past these levels, Grave Eaters, they're not going to appear ever again, pretty much.
Yeah, that's really a shame.
Not really. Graves are annoying.
I mean, I agree, but it's also just kind of, I know, sad that they had to actually waste a plant slot on something that was essentially a gimmick, and I don't really
Well,
like...
they do that in the next area, too, pretty much.
I mean...
I guess that it technically accounts for 2 worlds instead of 1.
Yeah, 2 worlds
then
just makes it a little less of a problem, and World 4
And then
is...
they do it for the last world as well.
Yeah, that is a good point. There's a certain amount of, I don't know, I don't really like it when a game drives itself with gimmicks. Maybe this is why I never really resonated with Mega Man the same way other people did, is that when you make the entire game about level-specific gimmicks, it feels like the cohesive game doesn't have a set identity to it. So, for example, this is the level with gravestones. Always bring Grave Eater, and you'll never have to after this level because the Grave Eater has no purpose outside of World 2. In fact, you can't even pick it outside of World 2.
You can, I think. It just warns you that, yeah, that's not a good idea.
Oh, that's right, that's right. You know, and in this game, World 4 is the extreme gimmick world, which, again, I'm fine with if you're going to make it a gimmick world in this case. But I really don't like it when a game drives itself with nothing but gimmicks. And maybe that's just me. But
maybe.
like,
I mean, there's a lot of things that are just you.
This is true. But like, for example, not to give too much away about later parts of the game, but World 5 is the roof, and the roof is tilted, which is why you need pults. Is specifically cabbage, kernel, and melon pults all launch things at an angle so that you don't have to worry about the angle on the roof, which would normally stop pea shooters if they are placed before a certain row or before a certain column on the roof, as I recall.
Because the roof does eventually flatten out.
Right, right. So,
but everything to the far left is tilted.
Right.
So, but if by the time that you're able to put out a pea shooter or something, they're right on top of the zombies.
Right, right. So what really stands out to me is the fact that, yeah, well, technically there isn't much of a difference in a stage like this between a cabbage pult and a pea shooter. They're still available, and you can still use a cabbage pult, and you'll get the same result.
The cabbage pult is pretty good against these guys.
Yeah, and then there's also the added use that all the pults actually really work against screen door zombies, which they don't even mention anywhere in the game and never require you to use anywhere in the game. But it's totally something that can then expand upon your experience as a player. So to me, that's how you do a gimmick right. You introduce a plant to get around a gimmick, but then allow for that gimmick solution plant to then be used for other things. Such as, say, the Doom Shroom and the Coffee Bean working together.
Yeah, those work really great together because it's a TSPP, so...
Right, and
you can just set it out early, so that by the time that, you actually need to use it, you almost have another one ready to go.
Exactly. And I believe Coffee Beans recharge a lot faster than Doom Shrooms, so there's...
Coffee Beans are basically like sunflower recharge.
Right. So there's a lot of strategy that can come into specifically plants that were once gimmick plants but can be used for other things. Whereas something like the Grave Eater will literally never have any other use outside of eating graves in World 2.
Yes.
That leaves a kind of bad taste in my mouth, and I appreciate especially the fact that the sequel takes that extra step towards making less plants that gimmicky, outside of lily pads and a couple others like that. I think, stuff like the hot potato or the lily pad, which is plants that cost very little to no sun and only really works for one gimmick. That's fine. I can live with that. It's when you start getting into an entire world based around nothing but gimmicks. I'm looking forward to that. Oh, Thomas, I'm looking forward to that! Okay,
we'll get there, Austin. We're gonna get there. Eventually.
I'm looking forward to it.
Probably not within this recording session, but I mean, you know, that doesn't matter for the audience.
I'm gonna pass out before this recording session is over at this rate. So I hope.
Okay.
I hope not, at least, that we're going to World 4. Otherwise, you'll have an entire part of me snoring. Which might actually be more entertaining than the ramble I've been going on, so,
Well, you know, basically, this episode, we're gonna end this world.
Sure.
This world is done, because we're on 2-9 right now, and, I mean, you know, it'd be kind of weird to just end it, and it'll be the last level next episode, starting off. That'd be kind of a weird place to start, so...
That's a fair point.
So we're ending World 2 this episode, guys. That's gonna happen. Look forward to that within, like, the next, I don't know, 10 minutes or something. Not even 10 minutes. 3 minutes.
Let's hope.
Jordan, are you awake over there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Very tired.
good. I mean, we're in the night levels. You have to be tired. That's the rule. If you're playing the night levels and you're not tired, then you're playing them wrong.
Has this just become like our nighttime podcast or something at this rate?
Yeah, that's Plants vs. Zombies.
I like it. I really like that. I want to continue this. Thomas, we can only do this when we're all dead tired.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much, yeah. That's whenever we can all get together.
Look, I get that too, but...
But yeah, man, Cabbage Pulse broke this level.
Yeah, I'm currently playing Peggle, so I can stay awake.
We talked about Peggle earlier in the series.
Did you?
Did
Well,
we?
no, actually, that was before we started recording that one episode.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, I never
You might
placed
be
down the spike weed, did I? Let's do that. Let's spike rock. Look at that top row, guys. It's gonna get spike weed. There's nobody coming from the top row. Oh, there's a guy on the top row. He's a screen door zombie. That's good. He's gonna get killed real fast. Yeah, there he is. He's dead. Look, there's another screen door zombie down here. We can kill him with it. Look at that. He's walking over. Now he's dead. He's dead, guys. We killed him. We did it. We got past 2-9.
Oh, look, it's a note.
That's a very bizarre setup for a night stage, honestly. Hello. We would like to visit for a midnight snack. How does ice cream and brains sound? Sincerely, the zombies.
Oh, do they go into French now?
Sounds delicious.
Anna, we, the zombies, would like to have some ice cream and brains with you, no?
Don't you know that zombies are from France?
Well, look, I get that much, but by the way, I like the little picture they draw here.
What picture?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be a picture of some sort. There's the circle, there's a little eye thing up there, and there was the one over there. I think it's supposed to be a face.
We have a Doom Shroom.
Yes, we do!
I'm gonna set this down and set this down. That's probably gonna work.
Hopefully.
Maybe. It might work. That didn't really work. Oh, wait, no, he's eating super slow, so that will work. Ideally. Nope, it didn't work. Well, better freeze him again. Oh, we can potentially hypno him, but I'd like to have another mushroom that can shoot. That'd be good. If you could do that for me, guys, that'd be really great. You know, if you're feeling like it, which evidently you're not. They're not feeling it, guys.
Considering the number of Doom Shrooms in this stage, this would actually be the stage I would crack out the Doom pretty early for.
Really?
Yeah, because when you're going to get to a point, this is the one time where the Doom Shroom leaving a crater is actually an obstacle. Like a major obstacle. Because you get so many Doom Shrooms, there's a point where you're not going to be able to plant anymore.
Yes.
I quite like that, mind you. But it is totally a thing.
It is, in fact, a thing. For now, I'm just going to keep setting out the ice shrooms, though. Because, I mean, those are good. Ice shrooms are cool.
Also, have we talked at all about the music yet of this game?
We haven't, actually, I don't think.
Oh, well, alright. Good time to start. I love this song.
This song is amazing, yes.
It's a shame
In fact,
that...
just all the songs in the game are amazing, I'd say.
Oh, all the songs in the game are great. I especially love World 3's theme and World 5's theme. Just because they have really strong melodies, but also just really cool driving atmospheres. But for me, the level climax theme, which only plays in technically 3 of the 5 worlds, is
This guy is leaving.
easily one of the best themes, I think, to hit this segment-ish thing of gaming.
Yes.
Such a fantastic theme in general. It's interesting. This is the one theme to return for the next game. Well, one of the only 2 themes to return for the next game. And they always have versions of this theme that go in very different directions. Nothing nearly as mechanical or as driven as this theme in particular. Which is a real shame, unfortunately, because this has always been my favorite version of this theme.
I see. Yeah, we just hypnotized the dancing zombies, so he made more dancing zombies for us. That's always a fun strat to use on your friends.
Yeah.
Mm.
I can just start setting out, like, hypno shrooms all over the place if I want to. There gets to be a point where that's almost like a good idea, because you're gonna have, like, no room for any of this stuff. You know?
Unfortunately, this level never gets quite as absurd as World 1's 10.
It doesn't matter anymore!
Yeah,
It doesn't get to that level.
it won't get quite that hectic again, I think, until World 4, if I'm remembering right.
Yeah, pretty much. That World 4 gets to that, yeah.
I don't like World 410.
I think, well, you've talked about how it's very luck-based and you don't... and you
We'll
always
get there,
know.
don't worry!
But I don't have any problems with it, so I think that might just be you, Austin.
It's I have horrible luck, I'm sorry.
See, Austin, this is why I play video games.
Yes.
Not to say that you don't, just...
Oh, I don't
this is
anymore.
why I do.
Pixar didn't happen, and I don't have pics of me playing games anymore. The last pic I had to prove I played a game was a mod of Sonic Generations that had Hang Castle, I believe, as the level it was based on. And wow, was that a good stage, by the way? Really, really good stage. But that was the last thing I played last I checked. Or at least have proof that I played. I've been playing Cloudbuilt. Cloudbuilt's amazing.
I have no idea what that is.
It's basically third-person Mirror's Edge in a futuristic sci-fi
So guys,
city.
do. Just do that in this stage. Just say it right there, and it's done.
Mm-hmm.
They're doomed.
Yes, that is an accurate description of the verb which has happened to them. Yes.
Yes. That is what has occurred just now. They were doomed. That's what happens whenever you cross Mr. Game Pie. Don't you feel it, guys?
Feel the
Don't
doom.
you really feel it? Oh wow, I got a scaredy shroom. That's totally useful right now. And another scaredy shroom. That's definitely what I wanted right at this moment. Yes, totes, guys, totes.
See, this is where row planning and row management becomes a little bit obsessive for me. I only put scaredy shrooms on on columns 1 through 3. I only put puff shrooms on rows 4 through 6. I only put everything else on rows 7 through 9.
I see. Yeah, I have three. I have 3 scaredy
7
shrooms.
through 10 in this game. My bad.
Why did they give me 3 scaredy shrooms?
I mean columns, not rows.
Why did they think that was gonna be? Oh, I set down a scaredy shroom. That's not exactly what I meant to set down. I actually meant to set this down. There we go.
Freeze easy. Oh, sorry, wrong one.
Yeah, now I have a scaredy shroom up here. I guess I could just set the rest of them up here. That doesn't seem like a bad idea at all.
It gets a couple extra hits in. They're about as effective as the pea shooters on the front row were. A couple
Not
levels
even.
back.
They got 1 shot in.
That's more than some of the pea shooters did in World 110.
And now everybody's dead and we win.
This is the most
Because you see, guys, Doom
ceremonious
shrooms.
thing ever.
Doom Shrooms, guys. Anyway, I've been Mr. Game Pie.
I've been well.
Good. We'll see you next time.